Okay, so we have another fraud conviction here, and it includes a sentencing, actually. This occurs in Florida. The lovely gentleman, his name is Tommy Mendez, 42, of Melbourne, Florida. Shame, shame, shame. He has been sentenced to 3 years and 1 month in federal prison for theft of government funds. And he also, there was an order of forfeiture in the amount of almost $175,000, the proceeds of the theft of the government funds. He pled guilty back in July of this past summer, 2023. I'm curious if when we go through this, if you're going to find, in your opinion, that the 3 years and 1 month is sufficient, is too much, or is too little? I'm going to wonder too. So I'm going to probably shoot out my opinion because that's what I do when we get through it. Okay, so apparently, and remember, this is put out by the Office of Inspector General of the SSA. And I just take it right as I see it. All right. So according to their reporting, and I will link it below, this lovely gentleman, Mr. Tommy Mendez, this is always going to bother me, applied for child auxiliary benefits. And as you all know, those are benefits due to children of deceased wage earners. It can also be disabled wage earners and other reasons for dependency. And it was on behalf of his own minor child. They specify that it's for deceased wage earners, but again, it also can be for a disabled person wage earner. So anyway, he also applied for a separate monthly benefit due to the surviving spouse of a deceased wage earner with a child in care. Okay, so I think we have a video on this of what that is for all of you that could actually be a caretaker with a deceased spouse or the parent of your child, and now you're staying home to take care of the child. Even if you wouldn't otherwise be eligible for a dependent benefit, you actually would be potentially as a caretaker of that minor child, generally under 16 years of age. So that's, I get what they're getting at, and why they only specified that Social Security auxiliary benefits go to deceased. They don't mean it that way. That's just one of the dependents it can go to based on a deceased worker. It can also be a disabled worker. I just want to make that clear. Okay. So apparently on the applications, he claimed that the eligible child was living with him. We had another report where someone did that. I think the guy was in jail and he was reporting that the child was living with him. Probably not. So he claimed, so they weren't, apparently the child does not live with him. He lied on his applications that the child did. And his, benefit was approved because those kind of benefits are going to be pretty much, there's nothing to prove other than those very objective facts. It's not like a disability case where you have to prove things endlessly through medical records, and hopefully your doctors are articulate enough and not like keeping close to the vest on your conditions, or simply just don't know because they don't pay that much attention to you. These are very simple things to prevail on if you happen to fit the check boxes, because it's very objective information. It's not a discretionary call. So the SSA paid both the monthly benefits to Mr. Mendez, but he paid him both because he would be the caretaker for his child's benefits, and plus he got his own being the caretaker, which he was not. They say that he misused those child's funds received for the child for his own personal expenses. Not surprisingly, since he's claiming them and the child doesn't live with him. I'd find it hard to believe that he'd falsely claim them and then be rightfully sending the money to the actual caretaker. He would just have that caretaker collect the child's funds, right? Directly from the SSA. So he was using the child's funds for his own pleasures. And of course, and you can never do that when you're the holder of a child's benefits. We had a recent, I think it's published. If not, it will be soon. The obligations of a representative payee when you are taking care of a child's monies or somebody else's monies because they are not deemed able to handle it themselves to pay their bills. So he misused the child's monies. And of course, he received monies that he shouldn't be receiving for himself anyway. And that is where that 170, it's actually 107, more than 173,000 in SSA benefits to which he was not entitled. So he received that money fraudulently. So they go on to say, the prison sentence holds Mr. Mendez accountable, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Okay. So that seems kind of cut and dry. So the question I had in the beginning for you, if you have an opinion, do you think the 3 years and 1 month in federal prison is the right, the appropriate sentence? Just curious. I'm not sure if they tell us the time period in which he collected this. It's hard to say. They don't say that. Like, in other words, was he doing it for 5 years, 10 years, or just 2 years or 6 months? It couldn't be 6 months, really, given the amount of 173,000. But it's really hard to tell because it depends on what the worker earned. And imagine that worker. The worker's deceased. The worker worked hard. I imagine that worker in his or her grave would be really, really irritated and ticked off if, because good old Tommy decided to take their child's money and spend it on himself. I mean, they might be ticked that he pretended to be a caretaker and collect on his own behalf as well. But even worse is taking the child's money from the child. Yeesh, that's cringy. That's horrible. Anyway, I don't know. What do you think? I'm not completely appalled at 3 years and 1 month. So I don't, I'm not going to scream and rant and rave that it's too little, but I wouldn't have been heartbroken if he got more. Maybe that's how I feel about it. Like, it wasn't the lowest sentence possible, thankfully. Well, I don't know if it is, because I don't know if there was a minimum mandatory. But if they'd given him 9 months, I would think that would be crappy. 1 year, crappy. 2 years, crappy. 3 years, maybe we're teetering on okay. Not sure. Is he going to get out way less than 3 years? Don't know how it works there, for good behavior. What do you guys think? Curious. If you listen to this all the way through, let me know. I will talk to you later. Bye now.